Hey guys, what is up? It is me, Pagey, here once again with another video on Superman, but also just this DC universe coming our way. So April 18th has come and gone. That, of course, was Superman Day. Now, I would say roughly a month out from the date, Warner Brothers were, starting to push some little bits and pieces of promotional material for it, but we weren't really too sure what to expect on the actual day itself when it eventually arrived. Of course, like we have the Superman film coming out in a few months on July 11th from James Gunn, so it was heavily expected that a trailer would drop on this date. The official trailer, most likely, based off the usual release method for Warner Brothers movies in particular, especially after CinemaCon showed that 5-minute preview clip that then was attached to Minecraft but then also released online. Many were just expecting a trailer on this date. Now, of course, that did not happen. But many, I think, felt that wasn't going to be the case about 2 or 3 days out, roughly, from Superman Day, as there was zero final promotion for the actual day of Superman Day. Like, if that was the case and there was a trailer dropping, you would get that promotion. So it wasn't really a surprise on the actual day, if you were keeping track, that there wasn't an actual trailer that was dropped on the day. It was more the curiosity factor of, okay, well, it's clearly not going to be a trailer because they're not promoting a trailer coming out. So what's it going to, what's it actually going to be? But, what did drop, what was said, let's go over it and see if Warner Brothers did a good enough job on Superman Day to promote, Superman. But of course, throughout the video, let me know in the comment section down below your thoughts on everything we go over. Always curious to read what you guys are thinking. And of course, if you enjoy the video, drop a like. Takes 2 seconds. So the thing that was dropped on Superman Day in regards to the film of Superman and some stuff we can actually watch like a video was a behind the scenes thing, like almost like a press kit type of thing that I don't know if it would be on the Blu-ray and stuff, but it's just something that probably be available on like the press website for Warner Brothers eventually, but it might be put on like the Blu-ray or something, I'm not too sure. Now, this was a special 2-minute, roughly, featurette that showed the cast and crew on the actual set of Superman, so it didn't actually show any footage, I don't think. It was all just like the actual behind-the-scenes footage when they were filming. So it's shots that are going to be in the movie, but from like a behind-the-scenes angle. Or they were between takes, one of the two. So it showed a lot of different set designs, some of the stuff we hadn't seen yet. So there was some new stuff, some new characters seen, and of course some new shots of David Corenswet in the suit, or in the Superman suit, as well as the other characters, like first looks at Metamorpho properly, like you actually get to see the full body suit, you get a better look at Hawk Girl, and then some, as I said, like some of the more antagonistical sides, whether it's stuff associated with Lex Luthor or some other things as well. Now, overall, I thought the behind the scenes was fine, especially because, as I said, like if you really did care about what they were going to show, you probably caught on that it wasn't going to be a trailer. So a behind the scenes thing, I think, is a pretty suitable thing, especially based off what was said. Like you had James Gunn talking about the importance of not just the character, but also like the 1978 movie with Christopher Reeve and the legacy that leaves, and then when it leads into this movie, but also the responsibility that he has now handling this character and pushing it into a new generation. So that's what the behind the scenes sort of focused on. Obviously, one thing that is very interesting, and I'll attach it to this because, as I said, James Gunn is in there. There is like, it's not, I don't know if it's necessarily a genuine issue that people have. I think maybe it's just a meme, but I think like the vast majority of the behind the scenes content, like photos that have been shown and even stuff that's in this clip, they have James Gunn in the photo. So when it's like, oh, it's a new look at not a new look at James Gunn, though, that's what people are memeing. It's like a new look at the Superman. James Gunn's in the photo, or he's in like in the photo in a way where you couldn't crop him out, if that makes sense. It's become a meme, but the thing is that we've talked about this before. They're clearly pushing James Gunn as a focus in this new, not just for the Superman film, though that's obviously the case here, but just for this larger DC universe as a whole. They clearly want to make James Gunn this public figure where everyone can see a photo, they go, oh, that's James Gunn. They know him by name. They don't just know that they hear the name James Gunn, they actually know the face, just like they do with Kevin Feige, for example. That's clearly a method that James Gunn himself might be pushing. It's like, hey, it's important that people have some sort of connection and know who's behind these things. So it's becoming a meme, but I think it's also like an intentional thing from the Warner Brothers side. Now, whether it works or not is for us to wait for like 5 years, whether people will actually care enough to focus in on James Gunn or not. And obviously we have to wait until we get there because we've got to hope that this movie does well. Now, everything I've seen with Superman so far, I think is really solid. I don't think the movie looks like a 10 out of 10 from the gate, but it's also because we haven't hung around with any of these characters or really been into this world for the most part at all, really. Like, we got a bit of a dip of the toe, if you want to put it, with Creature Commandos, but I don't think Creature Commandos was that impressive. I thought it could have been better. But with Superman, I feel like that's where you're going to get a proper taste of it, and there will be a better experience within this world than what Creature Commandos provided. But of course, I think that official trailer, which will probably drop in May, that's when you'll probably get more of the story influences and you'll get a bit more of a feel of what this movie is actually meant to be. Now, I would say that one of the aspects that was sort of like tapped into a bit more with Superman Day, and it's probably like the beginning of the cycle up until the movie comes out, was the social media side. Like the first thing I saw was those Costco guys from TikTok giving 5 big booms to Superman, which I thought was pretty funny, but a bit cringe as well to some people. There was some actual stuff that I saw that was a bit cringy, but it's obviously directed towards kids. Like there was one where it was Superman and Lex Luthor like posing as Superman or something if they saw like an ice cream, or well, not an ice cream flavor, like a dessert that they like. They'd say like cookie, and then they'd pose as Superman if they liked cookie or pancakes or whatever it was, or something like that. Yeah, it's a bit cringy, but it's obviously that's leaning into kids and maybe some like, you know, parents and stuff like that. And I think the social media stuff that I've seen so far is the weakest thing about the film, but it's not easy. Social media marketing is some of the hardest marketing to get right, because you're not just appealing to a 16-year-old, you're appealing to a 10-year-old on their mum's phone or on their iPad. You're also appealing to a 25-year-old that just come off a 12-hour shift and just wants to go to sleep at his, on their phone before they do something, or they're on the bus. And then you're also with a 40-year-old and a 50-year-old and stuff like that, and parents and everyone, mixed demographics and stuff like that. It's not easy social media marketing. And I would say that Warner Brothers and their marketing are maybe trying to force the movie too much on social media users, in pushing in a certain direction. Like the look up hashtag, for example, I don't think that's very good to be complete. I think it's a good tagline for the poster, but to push it as like a hashtag on social media and try and create a trend, I don't think it's that great. But you won't know whether it works or not until we get I'd say about a month out from the movie coming out, but really like 2 weeks when people start to talk about it a bit more. But at least at the moment, the social media advertising hasn't been great, and that's probably because they haven't committed to an angle. For example, that behind the scenes video that we're talking about before, the one they released on Superman Day, is very, I don't want to say somber, but very serious, and focuses on why Superman is important to not just James Gunn and the cast and the crew, but just to the world. But then the social media stuff is trying to be silly and goofy. I think you have to pick an angle and sort of commit to that. They are modeling Superman's marketing campaign off Barbie from 2 years ago. And with Barbie, they picked an angle and stuck with it for the most part. And it worked very, very well. Superman, I think, needs to do the same, but we're still 3 months out or just under 3 months from the movie coming out. There's time. Maybe that gets a bit more lined up as we get maybe a month, 6 weeks out from the movie coming out. But speaking of promotion, one of the big promotions when it comes to a franchise thing, especially superhero stuff, is merchandise. And in the case of this, mainly toys. Now, we got a bunch of stuff released that's going to be for Superman. Nothing really reveals any sort of spoilers. The only thing is that it gave you a better look at the kaiju thing that we're going to get. But there was McFarlane action figures. There was a couple of different ones, like ones that are more expensive and then some cheaper ones. Funko Pops, which of course are a big seller. Once again, didn't reveal really any spoilers, the Funko Pop stuff. There's obviously going to be more released for the Funko Pops, but they released the ones that I think don't spoil anything. There was a deck of Uno cards. There was some lamps they've done with a partnership with a company. So there's a Fortress of Solitude lamp with the S and stuff like that. And then a bunch of other kids' toys. So sometimes these get leaked, and that will probably be the case when we get close to the movie coming out. And you'll see there might be some spoilers for the movie there. But yeah, I think none of the stuff here they really spoils anything outside of maybe the kaiju thing, but you see the kaiju in the trailer, so it's really shouldn't be too much of a spoiler. And the last thing that was really done on Superman Day was revolving around the Warner Brothers studio tour. Now, I've been on this tour when I went to LA in 2017. Yeah, 17. I went on this tour. Obviously wasn't Superman focused, but they had a special Superman tour. I don't know if it was specifically, I think it was just for one tour group. So they had a 1 hour tour on the Burbank lot. So the people went around, and then the fans on this tour were treated to a screening of the 1978 Christopher Reeve Superman film that was hosted by Ben Mankiewicz, who does the Turner Classic Movies, and also Jim Lee was there as well. There was props from that movie, as well as James Gunn's Superman as well. That was also there as well. So there's a bunch of different stuff there for people to celebrate. Now this extended to other parts of the Warner Brothers tour. So other people that weren't on this specific tour that, they got to experience as well, but the gift shop was completely Superman themed. And then there was also a bit where James Gunn and Jim Lee themselves greeted fans on the tour for photos and autographs and stuff like that. So, I think this is a decent thing to do. But also, I think, as I said before, when it got a few days out and they weren't really promoting Superman Day really at all, like they were promoting it more like a month out from it happening compared to a couple of days out, I think a lot of people caught on that it wasn't actually going to be that big of a thing. And maybe people just got their expectations too big. Maybe that was played into like CinemaCon, not showing anything like in regards to a trailer where people expected, so then it just moves on to Superman Day. But I think they did a decent job. You know, it's not like this massive day on the thing. It's still, if like Superman Day was like a month out from the movie coming out, then you'd expect them to do something bigger. But it's 3 months out from the movie coming out. They can't do too much because they also got other parts of their promotional campaign to do. And also Superman Day, in this case, would have been very social media focused, and it probably just wasn't worth it, at least this far out from the film. So I think they did a decent job considering where it landed. So I'd probably give them I don't know, a B? a B minus. We'll go B minus just to be fair. But yeah, guys, thanks for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you'd be awesome if you could drop a like and show support. Let me know in the comment section down below your various opinions on everything we went over. Always curious to read what you guys are thinking. And of course, if you are new to the channel, make sure to subscribe, and I will catch you guys later. Goodbye.